Welcome to the show, everyone. We're going to have a great show, and I'm really looking forward to networking with everybody out there. We're live on Facebook, so I do want to say hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. We're going to share the show later on. My first guest has been on with me once before. I have Kimber Rose. She's the owner of the Intimacy Vault. You are a somatic intimacy coach.
Yes.
You got to tell everybody what that is. Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back. A somatic intimacy coach is just essentially a way to tap into your body to figure out what's holding you back from your desires. And so my specialty is working with clients and in the realm of intimacy.
Mm-hmm. And how many people out there that are listening right now are going, wow, I haven't done that with my husband and I don't know how long, or my significant other and I don't know how long, right? But there's a lot of different, tell us a little bit about your different types of clients that you work with. You were talking a little bit earlier, and we could have had a round table in here today, but I really want you to kind of talk a little bit about who your client is, your patients, and how you go about that.
Yeah. Well, my typical client is anyone really that wants to tap into something more on their desire level, something more fun. Oh yes, fun, and not something else. I really specialize in working with couples who have kind of lost that spark. Maybe they're not communicating on a level that they need or want to be. A couple that either aren't having intercourse or any kind of touch or even intimacy, and I don't define intimacy as only intercourse. There's a lot of different levels to intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
So those type of clients who are really just sort of more like roommates than married or in relationship together.
So, okay. When should somebody who is, let's say, dealing with something like this, are there signs that they need to look for, or do they know?
They usually know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. When you're in a relationship and things aren't functioning the way that you want them to be or the way that you expect them to be, and we all enter relationships with different expectations. That's also something that I work with clients on. Because my expectations are different from my partner's expectations, but if I'm not communicating effectively to my partner what my expectations or wants or needs or desires are, then he won't know what he can do to help me out or to like be a good partner to me. And if he doesn't do the same and communicate to me, then I don't know how to be a good partner to him. So a lot of the times we take for granted when we're in a relationship that things will work themselves out. We'll get to know each other. We'll function.
This is just a
on
phase.
average. Yeah, absolutely. We all start a relationship. Generally, I don't want to say 100% of all of us start this way, but you usually start a relationship on some sort of a physical level. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. And then you've got the honeymoon phase, and then things start sort of fizzling out. What happens? Women get pregnant, you start a family, maybe you have a job offer, it moves you out of state, you lose your community, you lose your friends, things like that.
Life gets in the way of a lot of different things.
Absolutely,
right.
Absolutely.
Now, you do consultations with people, right?
I do, yeah.
And when they come in, what does that look like? You have this consultation. It must be very hard, right, for people, because a lot of people don't like to talk about this. But you know what? I've been saying this a lot this week. These are things we need to talk about and feel comfortable talking about.
Yes.
And that's probably why you're in the situation that you are anyway, right? Most of the time.
Yes.
And, okay, let me ask you this one. Do you work with mostly, let's say, first the woman and then the man comes in, or
No.
both? Yeah?
No. Well, let me answer your first question and let you know that the discovery call, it's not really a consultation in person, excuse me, it's a video call.
Oh, okay.
Because I like to see who I'm speaking with, and it's more convenient for somebody to do a video conference call than it is to come into my studio.
Mm-hmm.
And I offer those at all different hours to accommodate people's schedules.
And they're free.
They're free,
Right.
yes,
I just
absolutely.
wanna get that out. I
They
know
usually last
they
around 30 to 45 minutes, it just kind of depends on how much information we're going over. But surprisingly, it's usually the man that reaches out
Really?
when it comes to couples.
We all are like probably surprised by that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Well, think about it though too, and we kind of went over this on the last segment, where what's one thing that starts lacking in a relationship that would cause a man to have concern?
What is it?
A decrease in sex.
Well, of course.
Right.
I was gonna say, but I didn't wanna say it. Okay.
We're
Yeah.
trying to stay away from those things.
Right.
No, but then they'll reach out because they're seeking, right? They're looking for solutions. Well, how can I bring the sex back into my relationship or my marriage?
Right.
And so thankfully, they're seeking for ways to correct that as opposed to seeking for ways to go out of their marriage, which obviously that can happen too, but not with my business.
So the most common issues that people deal with are,
The most common issues are, number one, hands down, is communication, not having effective communication. The second one is just, the intimacy, because, excuse me, for lack of communication, it creates a lack in intimacy. If you can't appropriately get your thoughts communicated to your partner, you can't effectively be intimate with your partner.
and I think you had said that to you, the act of sex is different than intimacy,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
And it is. Some men don't understand that, you know.
Yeah.
I can see why they all want to, bring that back. That's very, but not to say that there's not women like that too, that want that.
I have
but
female
women-
clients that are like that.
Sure.
You know, like I have a client and she said basically, I'm not a touchy-feely person. I don't like when he just wants to touch me or hold my hand. Like, don't touch me or hold my hand unless it's gonna end up in sex.
Right.
Now, there's something deeper going on there, and we'll get to that, but.
And that's where you come in. And I
Yes.
think that people need to understand, a lot of people would say, oh, you know what, I can go to a counselor for that, and why do I need somebody who specializes in it? And
Yeah.
explain that real
You
quick.
can definitely go to a counselor or a therapist. I work very symbiotically with counselors and therapists. I have a couple of clients that have therapists, and those therapists work on much deeper issues, traumatic issues.
Mm.
Although I am a trauma-informed coach, I can work with people who experience trauma, and in some form, we all have experienced some form of trauma. But they are doing what's called a form of talk therapy, and I am doing the somatic approach. So the somatic means that I am having them tap into their body instead of their mind.
So, her phone number is 602-284-3652. She works nationwide. And also, you can check her out on her website. It's theintimacyvault.com. Again, 602-284-3652. Hang tight, we're gonna be back in just a minute. Different, right? A little bit different. I hope you're liking what we're doing. And
Yeah.
we're live here in this room right now, so during the break, I still talk a
Watch,
little bit. because
watch
we're-
my mouth. I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, well, mine too. So, I was thinking how we had talked about the possibility of more, where you can come back and just literally narrow and deep just on one little thing, because there's gotta be there might be an umbrella, but there's gotta
Yeah.
be different, facets that come into play when people are dealing with this, right?
Yeah, there are.
I bet you there are.
Well, it's because you've got three things. You've got individual issues that you're bringing to the table, and then you've got together the couple issues.
Yeah.
And the individual issues really dictate what the couple issues are.
Well, I could see that. A lot of people, I think, stay in these, I'm gonna call it stale relationships, right? Do you find that more people are open to this now than they ever were before? Like I know when my mother, oh my
Yeah.
God, she'd probably never talk about anything like
Yeah.
this.
Well, we are in the era of, mental health awareness.
Yeah,
And so I think that that's really helped
Helps.
a lot.
Mhm.
And then coaching is also something that's very up and coming. It's still fairly new. people aren't real, I mean, I think it started with like life coaches, and then it was like
Yeah,
health coaches, that
true.
whole thing.
Right.
And then people started creating different aspects to it.
and I think it's great that men are more open to it. Cause like I was
Yeah.
telling you, my mom, but my dad, he would never go to therapy. Are you kidding me?
Right,
You know, that
for
was
sure.
like taboo
Yes.
when we were younger, right? That would just be
Yes.
like nothing a
Right.
man would
You're
do.
broken if you have to see a therapist or
Exactly,
something. Yeah.
exactly. I just wanna talk about your breath work that you do
Mhm.
also, okay, and how that comes to play with this.
Okay.
Okay, that's kind of
Alright.
interesting.
Yeah, breath work is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was telling you about a movie that had Helen Hunt was the therapist, and it was phenomenal. And I don't remember it, but I will look it up for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and send it to you.
Yeah.
Because it would be interesting for you to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny because anytime I used to think of like a sex therapist, Mrs. Fokker would come to mind, you know, from Meet the Fockers.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then on Netflix,
Yeah.
they have a
This
show
was-
called Sex Education, and the mom is a sex therapist.
Dr. Ruth.
And Dr. Ruth, yeah, the pioneer.
So welcome back, everyone. We've been talking to Facebook land a little bit out there, and we've been talking about, I love the breaks too, because I get to know so much more about my guests that are on. And we were talking about coaching and how you said that it's really, as much as people have heard about it, it's really still up and coming.
Yes.
You said, that's really, and you know, a somatic intimacy coach, this is different. And what I love about her, she does these free video calls to get to know one another. She likes to do that. She works nationwide. And you can check her out. That is theintimacyvault.com. Before I ask you any questions, I want you to tell them why you say the Intimacy Vault. Why do you use that?
Really just because when you think of a vault, you think that it holds all of your prized possessions. It's very secure. And really that's what our relationship should be, very secure. We should have safety and trust, and, you know, we should create this sort of bubble around us, like the couple bubble, and keep it safe. And I just thought, well, what gives a visual? A vault. The intimacy
Very good.
vault.
Now, what I want to talk about, because you were talking a little bit about your breath work that you do
Yes.
now you got to talk about what that is,
Okay.
but also how it, you know, intertwines with what you do.
Yeah. So the type of coaching that I am trained under is VITA. So it's the Vital and Integrated Tantric Approach, which means that we are utilizing a lot of tantric practices, and I really want to be specific. It's more like neo-tantra, because true tantra you need to study under a guru, and we don't really have those in the United States. But breath is part of energy. It's part of how we move energy. It's part of how we bring life to different areas of our body. I mean, breath is our life. If we're not breathing, we're not alive. And so breath work allows us to dive deeper into the somatics by taking the person out of their head and bringing them into their body. And it's about bringing that presence into areas of their body.
So what kind of tools do you use?
Like
you say here.
well, and what's in my
now you're
toolbox?
saying, yeah, okay, well, what is in your toolbox?
Well, I mean, I don't have any physical tools that are in my toolbox, but breath work is the main tool that I use with my couples or my clients, as well as the felt sense. The felt sense is essentially the language of our body. It's the wisdom of our body. And so, you know, if you've ever done something and you've gotten like that pit feeling in your stomach and you're like, oof, maybe I shouldn't do that. You know, you get that gut instinct. That's the wisdom of your body. That's your body speaking to you. And where that comes from is it comes from an imprint that has been created on your nervous system And it's a memory that your nervous system has from something, whether it was in your lifetime or in your generations before your lifetime. And it creates a reaction and a response. Now, sometimes those are outdated responses, and we work on those, but those are the type of things that I have in my tool chest. Sound helps to move energy. Movement helps to, move energy. Movement helps to unblock things that are stored in our body.
So, do you, is it different when you work with a man as opposed to a woman?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's different. Interestingly enough, you would think that women can tap into their body and their emotions easier than
Yes,
men.
we all women know that.
Yes.
Huh.
Sometimes though I get men and they're very quick to tap into their body and emotions. And sometimes I get couples where the man is more tapped in than the female. And that just shows me she's operating in her masculinity. And why is she operating in her masculinity? Is it because she doesn't feel safe with her partner to really surrender to her feminine side? And so that's something that we have to work on with her, not only with her, but with her husband. What are you doing unconsciously, possibly, that is forcing your partner to be in their masculine?
So this is gonna be a weird question, okay? I'm not sure whether it's weird or not, but, a lot of people will still do the act of, let's say, intercourse, right? Active sex. Do they come to you because they can't do that? Or do they come to you because they can't talk to them about it? I mean, you know what I'm saying? They're two different things.
Two different things.
Right,
Very.
so what, I'm asking you, I don't know if I asked it right, but that's how I'm
I
asking.
got what you're saying.
Okay,
What I'm hearing you ask is it sort of like the cart before the horse type of thing,
Mhm.
right? Here's what happens, is you think that if you're in a relationship for 10, 15, 20, 30 plus years, that it's easier for you to communicate. That is usually not the case. So imagine if you're with a partner for 30 years, you would think as an outsider that it's so easy to talk to my partner about, honey, let me try this new position, or let's spice things up a little bit, or you know what, I don't like that we don't have sex frequently or at all. It's actually more difficult because we get so conditioned to believe that if we upset that apple cart, something might happen, and that something is usually security. It's the safety. Our nervous system doesn't feel safe opening up that can of worms, if you will.
Mhm.
As far as the physical aspect, generally people just don't understand what's causing, have they fallen out of that physical contact, and I honestly forget the second part of that question when
Me
it comes
too.
to the physical.
That's okay.
I was like, where am I going with this? It's
Well, what
almost-
I wanna know, what I was trying to find out, right, because here's the thing, some people, they have different parts of it, some people, they're just not doing it anymore, right?
Yeah.
But then
Sometimes
there are
that's-
some people.
Yes,
Okay.
I remember now.
Okay.
Sometimes that's physical complications, right? Like erectile dysfunction.
That's different, right.
Or vaginal dryness, that's
Mhm.
different. But sometimes it can be other physical issues.
Non-attraction, anymore.
Yeah, I mean, as we age, we're not, our bodies aren't getting any perkier, but the beauty of really being with your partner as one is that the body no longer matters. You didn't marry your partner for their body. Maybe initially in your 20s you think that, but as you grow together, you're married to your partner for the safety and the security and the love and the desire, their brain, all of that stuff. What are they providing for you? What are you providing for them? It's the nurturing.
Right.
And the body doesn't have anything to do with that. The body is just a vessel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And after a while, folks, you know what? Your body's gonna do what it's gonna do no matter what.
Yeah.
Right?
Just love it, embrace
Yeah.
it.
And
Whatever.
it is
Walk
that
around
part of it.
nude.
Everybody's different on that too. They have different thoughts. But let me give out the information. First of all, she does do free consultations. There are free video calls that she does, so she can work nationwide. And her website is theintimacyvault.com. Her phone number is 602-284-3333. 3652. And whether it's you, maybe you know someone, a lot of times girls, maybe they, and guys, they all talk about this.
Girls
with,
talk more about this stuff than guys.
Yeah.
Guys don't talk about this with their friends.
They don't?
Oh, no, it's too
I would think
embarrassing.
that's, yeah, you
Yeah,
don't want anyone to
women
know.
though, they'll be the first to talk to their girlfriends. We're not
Oh,
having
yeah,
sex
yeah, yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
He doesn't open my door.
Right.
He doesn't bring me flowers. Men don't talk about that.
Yeah, well, they don't, because like you said, it's embarrassing for them, right?
Yeah.
But, like I was gonna say, this is that everybody out there, if you know somebody that is dealing with something like this, give them the information, because that's what this is all about. And being comfortable talking about it in the first place is the number one thing,
Yes.
right? And,
Yes.
everybody, you're not alone. I think that's another thing. Everybody thinks that they're the only ones that are dealing with this, and we wouldn't have people like you out there, or books, and I'm sure there's tons of
Tons
them,
of
right?
books, yes.
But with this being that she's a somatic intimacy coach, this is different. I don't think I've ever heard of it before.
It's different. Actually, I get a lot of couples that come to me, they're like, well, we tried therapy and we tried counseling, so I guess we'll try coaching.
Mhm.
It's our last resort. And I love those couples because to me,
They're really reaching to try and work it
they're
out.
really invested.
Mhm,
Yeah, they're
mhm.
their last resource.
Now, let me see. Okay, I think I kind of asked this, but many couples are struggling with keeping intimacy alive in long-term relationships. What advice do you have for them? Real quick.
Well, the advice I would have is to be present, just in the moment. It doesn't even have to be a sexual moment. It just has to be when you're with your partner. Put your phone down. Create some presence and intention. It could be a handhold. It could be a knee touch. It could be a kiss. In fact, people stop kissing the longer they're married. So start French kissing your partner. Start making out.
It's the dentures,
Take the dentures out, nobody cares. More room for the tongue to move around.
Well, but everybody's probably laughing. They are in here right now. It's just I don't know where I come up with it, I'll tell you right now. So, but the main thing is, I think what it is being okay with one another and bringing love and respect. Also, that's really big, right? What other advice would you have for anybody out there that's dealing with something like that, like this?
Yeah, just to reach out, even if it's just to ask questions. A lot of the times people can glean some wisdom from the video chat that we have, just to see if I can help them.
Right. You know what? I thank you for what you do, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that do have issues, because most people do. And you know what? It doesn't
We all have
even.
some kind of issue.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Look at me. But honestly, I think that I thank you for being able to be here to talk about this, because it's a subject that not everybody feels comfortable talking about. A lot of different things. But you know what, like she said, give her a call, start with questions, that's what it is, and let her kind of find out how she can help. Her number again is 602-284-3652. It's theintimacyvault.com.
Thank you.
Did you like